The crown prince declares he has run out of patience for her repeated wrongdoings, and as a crown prince, Alfonso hereby renounces their engagement. This is Alexandra's fiancé, Lord Alfonso, the first prince of the kingdom of Tarraconensis. They are currently in the middle of Alexandra's damnation event. The girl also pleads with her to admit to her crimes. If she does so now, Lord Alfonso will still forgive her. This is Lucia, the daughter of a baron, who she refers to as a potato girl. It is this potato girl, rather than her, who the crown prince is currently infatuated with. Everyone is their ally. She has no way out of this, or does she? She smirks, thinking unfortunately and as sorry as she is for him, she came prepared. So he should bask in his history while he can. Everything began 1 day ago. No, more precisely. That's when it all came tumbling down. 24 hours ago she received the bad news. Her life is about to be over. She has 24 hours before she gets hit with the cancelled engagement and public condemnation combo. She mumbles, what should she do? She is done for. Her head is spinning and she feels like she's gonna throw up. This is absolutely the worst. But then, she reminds herself, she has to come down. She says first of all she is Alexandra, the daughter of one of the beloved 3 great dukes of the kingdom of Tarraconensis. This kingdom of the Tarraconensis is located on the peninsula of a certain continent. She was born into a family which within the kingdom, has existed for a relatively long time. And Crown Prince Alfonso is her fiancé. For that reason, from a young age up until now, she has trained to death in order to become fitting as an empress. She hadn't envisioned anything but a future with him. And she would always believe that she would become the empress by his side for the rest of her life. But right now, Alfonso's heart is with that potato girl. And it is also true that her love wasn't natural but cultivated. The first time she met him, she didn't have any special emotions toward him. But because they were both unhappy being stuck together by obligation, she gradually convinced herself to like him. Because of that, she came to love him from her heart, and even began to hope that he would love her back. Lady Alexandra only sees Lord Alfonso as the crown prince. This line that the potato girl addressed to her at some point, it infuriated her to no end. She told herself she did love him as a man. The potato girl's words took all of her efforts, her way of life, and her love up until that point and denied all of it. Alexandra knew he favored her for some time, even though she was the fiancée. Which is why she couldn't take it. With that, jealousy turned to malice, and she directed it all towards the potato girl. She hired some people to mock her, though she never did hire that hoodlum to physically rough her up. But everything else was her indirectly inciting others to do her bidding, so she didn't do anything. The more she did, the more the potato girl's pure simplicity shined and the further his heart went to her. What a vicious cycle. It even got to the point that Lord Alfonso became openly hostile towards her. What's more, she has heard rumors that the two already confirmed their love for each other, and far from forgetting about her, his hatred only grew for her. Tomorrow there will be a social gathering at the academy. He probably plans to use her crimes as a reason to get rid of her and choose her instead. She strikes the table with her palms, muttering as if she will accept this. That impudent little potato girl. She is determined to destroy that woman. And that was what she was all worked about as she got to this chair, where as soon as she sat down, she suddenly felt an awful dizziness. And the memories of someone she didn't know began flowing in. Those memories were what might be called her past life. An insignificant office lady in her second year of adult life, markedly unattractive, never had a boyfriend, an exceedingly plain type of person. Not to mention, slender with a flat chest. Her hobby, reading any accessible light novels, manga and games. She doesn't know why she suddenly remembered them. But what is important is that her current self is exactly the same as that person from the game. She is the heroine's love rival and villainess from the game Dokiden. Another wave of dizziness hits her as she realizes she is in the world of game. She feels sick again but forces herself to get a grip. Dokiden is an archetypical auto game. It is a story of a common heroine, that is the potato girl, who is adopted by a poor baron and enters a school for nobles. Whereupon she fosters a romantic relationship with the men she meets. And the one who gets in the way in all of the routes is her. Not to mention she gets destroyed on most routes. He mutters, hold on. The route the potato girl is on right now is, her face suddenly pales as realization hits. No way. In every path, the one who gets in the way is her. And then it clicks, it's the reverse harem ending. Anger bubbles up, and she mutters, just what is that potato girl thinking? It is the end where she ends up with the crown prince, but still has other targets fall heads over heels for her. And the heroine goes on to become the crown princess. Suddenly she feels sick and curses that damn potato girl. In all routes, she will be denounced and destroyed at tomorrow's feast. But the reverse harem route is not the same. In this route there is not even a denunciation. Thanks to this potato girl's deep mercy they make up. For the rest of their lives, the two connected as friends. Her face twists with anger as she will accept such humiliation. If she has to make up with that woman, she would rather kill herself or get executed. Any of these would be better. She is someone who aims to become the mother of the nation. She will remain proud throughout. She snaps, as if she would beg for mercy from some potato girl. With that said, how does she overturn this situation where she is bound to lose? She thinks she just has to move her pieces to get her to trip up. The reverse harem end is the hardest end to obtain in Dokiden. You won't stumble into it if you just play normally. Which means that the potato girl is a reincarnator too. While watching her go around sucking up to others and digging her own grave as programmed, she must have been chuckling to herself all this time. But Alexandra sees the advantage in this. Her guard should be lowered now. Because her happy end is already confirmed by this point. But unfortunately she is not a program anymore. She still has time to make her moves. The condemnation event is tomorrow night, 24 hours from now on. And she will turn this around. First of all, she calls Alexandra's personal attendant Zenaida and tells her there's something she needs to entrust to her. She casually says she wonders if she could go investigate Harold the butler right now. The maid's eyes fly wide, but she reins in her surprise almost instantly. Harold? She replies that is right and watches her hesitancy, asking if she is trying to say she cannot do it. Zenaida quickly tells her that is not the case and leave it to her. Now 23 hours are left. Her attendant returns with some of his stuff and says this was what was in his room. It was just as she suspected. Harold is one of the potato girl's capture targets. During tomorrow's event, he will betray her by revealing her evil deeds. To do that, he would need to have some kind of proof. So she asked her to check his room while he wasn't there and she found journals recording many wrongdoings. To think there was this much. But with this, she will be able to get at him. He then instructs the maid to go call for Harold. And also a few of the other servants. With a snicker, she tells Zenaida, she could tell them this, that there is a traitor within their household. Shortly, butler Harold arrives, apologizing for keeping her waiting and asks if she called for him. She tells him to come closer and he does as she instructed. She thinks he's making that harmless face, all while trying to double-cross her. She casually tells him he's fired and to get out of this house right away. He freezes before smiling nervously, asking if he has done something not to her satisfaction. She sighs and says even she is aware that he likes that potato girl. But oh well, whoever he goes to visit is not the matter. But if he is going to prioritize that girl over his master, then that's a different story. He blurts he does think that Lucia is a lovely woman, but she cuts him off saying oh my. He is already on a first-name basis, isn't he? Now a woman who is sucking up not just to the crown prince, but also to numerous other men, as for what part of that is so lovely to him. She really has no idea. He replies, putting it like that, it is almost as though she's going around seducing men and deceiving them and requests her to retract that statement. She mutters, so he's giving her orders now, then picks up her ring and fiddles with it. The door suddenly bursts open as her servants rush in. In an instant, a man wrenches him down to his knees. The butler's voice breaks in a scream, calling her mistress and demanding what she's doing. But she silences him, her tone sharp, he has no right to that title, not when he no longer serves this house. She calls out to Zenaida, who gathers his belongings. His eyes go wide as she opens his journal and begins to read aloud, this month, on this day, at this time, Alexandra held a secret meeting with the leader of an underground organization and exchanged several gemstones for a contract to attack Lucia. This month and on this day and time, she had tea parties with multiple classmates and spoke of rumors concerning Lucia as though it was the truth in an attempt to further isolate her. Zenaida adds besides this Harold has recorded all of Mistress' movements and behaviors. Alexandra mumbles it is unfortunate to think he would take her or rather the household and denigrate it this way. She bends down, locking eyes with him, and asks if he has an explanation for all this. He blurts, yes he does. In the first place, what she did to Lucia but she cuts him off coldly, Lucia again. Her ears hurt every time she has to hear that name and tells her man to shut him up. He mumbles from beneath the cloth, but she concedes that, in some small way, he did serve her. With that, she hurls a box at him, telling him to consider it his severance pay. Her attendant gasps in shock, that was a gift from the crown prince himself, chosen personally for her. Alexandra flatly says it is fine. She doesn't need it anymore. She tells him if he sells this in the right place, he will probably be able to live for the rest of his life without working. And teases him, why doesn't he thank her in tears? At last, she dismisses him with a farewell and a warning to never let her show his face again. That is the first one taken care of. Though it is really hard to do all this by herself. Zenaida admits she was surprised to learn that Sir Harold was secretly conspiring against her. Alexandra remarks, well, they say that love is blind. He probably turned into an idiot because of that potato girl. She lifts her gaze to her attendant, knowing she's next. Tomorrow, when Alexandra gets condemned, she abandons her quickly. That's why before that happens, she will buy her out. Without warning, she tells her she has a proposal for her. She asks what that might be. Alexandra suggests rather than his house, does she want to serve directly under her? Zenaida looks surprised and asks if that would mean to serve only her. Alexandra assures her she will pay for it. She picks up another jewelry box and suggests how about this as her down payment. Zenaida looks at it in shock. Alexandra clarifies, not all of it, of course. Zenaida asks why her. She replies. She's someone that's serving the household right now. Zenaida says but she's also serving her, but she cuts her off saying no. If her father were to cut her off, then she would do the same. She ends up smiling, saying she sees, if she wants to buy her so badly, it is hard to refuse. Alexandra thinks she doesn't hold back, does she? The attendant then adds with a light smile, she looks forward to working with her from now on. And now she finds herself wondering if it was the right thing to do. Alexandra then tells her she needs something from her right away. She firmly points her finger at her, apologizing but declaring she's not letting her sleep tonight. Zenaida quickly pulls back, asking in horror, what is she saying? Alexandra looks equally shocked, muttering what is she envisioning right now. She clarifies that there are a lot of things that need to be done by tomorrow. She is going to have her go around and do things in several places without complaining. She slams her fist on the table, asking if she got it. She will tell her what to do now and she can memorize it or write it down but remember it somehow. After she has written everything down, Zenaida glances at her with visible unease, asking if she really intends to do all this. Alexandra replies of course, but it is definitely a secret from her father. When the time comes, she will explain everything. And then she sends her off with the final instruction to call Isido first. Her face sets with determination, as she resolves to start preparing too. Soon, the wealthy merchant Isidro arrives and greets her. He compliments her beauty as always, but she meets him with a straight face. Enough with the flattery. He has heard what she asked of Zenaida, hasn't he? He replies of course and asks if what she told is true. She replies without a doubt. He could take everything here and exchange it for money. The merchant notices there are also some items here that she had him prepare for her in the first place and asks if there was something not to her satisfaction. She states she has been quite content with everything she has bought from him, the things she's still using are not here so he can relax. In any case, she will explain what she wants quickly. She points at the chair. He glances at it, remarking that she usually keeps him standing and asking what the occasion might be. Irritation flashes through her at his endless chatter, and she grumbles for him to just sit down. As he sits, he notes that what she's putting up for sale is no small amount. She reminds him he said that he would also buy old clothing before and asks if the offer still stands. He replies of course. But she's confused, what would he even do with custom tailored dresses? He admits there is a demand for them among the poor nobility. Not to mention there are also customers who would gladly purchase the well-used personal effects of the daughter of a duke. She scoffs and asks, is he saying that they will also get into the hands of the people with dubious hobbies? He assures if it displeases her, he will arrange for that not to happen. But she mutters she doesn't care, so as long as she has entrusted them to him, he can do as he pleases. This man Isidro, a major merchant, is also well connected to the underground. Trading of illegal goods, all sorts of spies, actions that require violence. If you have the money, you could probably request even more than that. The ruffian she ordered to attack the potato girl was also hired through Isidro. Out of the move she has to make by tomorrow, she has to ask Isidro for several of them. That is why even if she has to sell most of her things off, she needs the money. All to crush the potato girl's capture targets who are going to denounce her. She then instructs Isidro to make sure he gets the work done by people who can promise not to tell us all. And also lets him know she has a few things she wants to request using that money. He replies he has heard the main points from her maid. She says well she's glad this will be a quick discussion before declaring, first she wants him to secretly investigate Lucia's bedroom. Isidro smirks and remarks, the girl that Lady Alexandra is quite jealous of. Yes. She tells him not to say that out loud. She orders him to have everything documented through dawn. He remarks on the fact that she wants the bedroom investigated. She interrupts, that's right. In the game on the night before the condemnation, there's a passionate first night event with the Crown Prince. Not that she wants to know the details. But what she wants is proof that he was committing infidelity while he still had her as his fiancée. She mumbles if they're lucky, he may even get to catch her doing business with a certain someone. Isidro smirks, saying it's a chance to peep and be paid handsomely for it. He's certain there will be no shortage of volunteers. He then asks when would she like to be reported back to. Alexandra asks if he can do it as soon as the day breaks. He remarks it seems she has some circumstances and agrees. She then states the next is about the general's son. After they finish talking about him, she says, with that her requests were concluded. He understands and says in which case they will deduct the compensation from the assessed total. She smirks and says they have a deal. Zenaida, watching the entire time, thinks what a damn person. Once her room is cleared, she realizes it's about time she'll be called for supper. Every night their household always has supper together. Their father, the head of the family, always has lots of work to do, which means that supper was the only opportunity for him to show his face. In his stead, their mother was the one who diligently educated the children. Thanks to that, her older brother Cecilo has grown up to excel, and he will probably take over as the head of the family without issue in a few years. Then there are the younger twins, Viviana and Placido, as well as the youngest sister, Esmeralda. Placido is already engaged to someone as a fiancé and Esmeralda is currently in education. The problem is Viviana. She is classmates with the potato girl, and of all things, the two of them are close friends. That she would come to support the love between the potato girl and Lord Alfonso was only natural. Furthermore, given that their relationship was poor to begin with, for her to begin antagonizing her over it, it wasn't strange at all. Alexandra really doesn't care whether she hates her or not. The problem is that Viviana is also one of the people who is going to denounce her tomorrow. Her whole body trembles with anger. Sister or not, she's furious with her. Alexandra cannot let her act out of line tomorrow. Just then, there's a knock on the door and Zenaida informs her supper has been prepared. She says she will come right away thinking, to prevent that there is only one thing she can do. She thinks darkly, she will make her regret making her an enemy. At the table, Esmeralda thanks her parents for all the hard work today. Her father thanks her and admits it was quite a bit easier with her brother helping out. Cecilo says he is still not as good as father though. But their mother assures he's really doing well. She adds with Placido's engagement discussions taken care of, there sure is a lot to look forward to. Viviana frowns, the silence turning heavy, before their father cuts through it and asks what she did today. She replies she was having tea with her friends after school. He remarks is that so? Well, it is good to be close with her school friends. School friends, huh? Alexandra muses inwardly before fixing her gaze on her. Viviana breaks their gaze by turning her face away. Alexandra thinks to herself that they'll see how long that attitude lasts. For the first time, she speaks up, saying they're still in the middle of the meal but she has something she would like to discuss. Her father arches a brow and asks what's with the formality. Alexandra declares that she wishes to withdraw from her engagement with His Highness the Crown Prince. Everyone on the table is left stunned. Her father shuts his eyes before asking if this is just a sudden whim, but she answers firmly, no. It is something she has been considering for a long time. She is always wondering if she would really be able to support His Highness. Her mother cuts her off, blurting but she is doing great. She adds, however, surely they are already aware that no matter how hard she tries, the situation is already irrecoverable. She then asks them if they have heard the story of her misconduct. Her mother flinches and her father grows quiet, before saying it is still within the range that he can cover for her. A smile lights up her face. Her father is very kind. She is grateful and sorry to him at the same time. She tells her father she cannot cause him any more trouble thinking because she cannot yield here. If she stops here, then even if they get rebuked, she will be the only one to take the blame. Any more will damage the name of their household. She declares for the sake of their ducal household, she will withdraw. Her father sighs, saying but the country empresses have always been selected from ducal houses. If she withdraws, then who will replace her? Alexandra says if that is the case then there is no need to worry. Don't they have 2 more daughters? Both Viviana and Esmeralda look shocked. Alexandra admits that is true, but as for what she thinks, there is someone who's of a similar age and has tea parties with His Highness and her other school friends. Taking the opportunity to deepen their relationship, she recommends Viviana. Viviana jumps to her feet, telling her to wait a moment. But their father cuts her off, saying this is an important matter for their ducal household and ordering her to be silent. Alexandra only smirks at the sight of Viviana, shaken and pale. Her father asks her the last time, is she really serious about this? She replies yes. He states in that case he will allow it. He admits even he felt that the crown prince's heart was no longer with Alexandra, that in fact it had become quite the opposite. And at this rate, just as she says, he doubts anything good would come out of it. He concedes that his daughter has endured much. Alexandra counters softly that the one who should truly apologize is herself. He then declares he will inform His Majesty soon, he is sure to understand. But she tells her father there is no need for that. She is thinking of requesting an audience tomorrow to directly request withdrawal. She calls out to Viviana, who flinches and shoots her a glare, snapping, "What is it?" Alexandra tilts her head with a sweet, mocking smile and says that though she couldn't stay by His Highness's side, she's certain Viviana will become his great support. She won, and now only 21 hours are left. Later, Viviana barges into her room, demanding what was she thinking. Alexandra keeps her calm and casually asks what is it all of a sudden, it's rather rude of her to enter without knocking. Viviana snaps, she is one to talk. Why would she do something like that? She cannot believe for a second that she's really giving up the engagement. Alexandra says, didn't she just explain why? She is simply not fit for His Highness. But Viviana accuses her of lying, saying there is no way she would just give up that easily. Especially not after what she did to Lucia. Alexandra chooses not to answer her that, and instead asks, wasn't she the one saying before that she wasn't cut out for the engagement? Well, she got what she wanted. Rejoice. Viviana narrows her eyes at her and demands, what is she plotting? She is the last person she will believe has changed their mind. Alexandra counters whatever she says, she's still breaking off the engagement. And looks up at her, asking if she's upset that she's replacing her. Viviana replies it is not that. Alexandra reminds her the royal family is upheld by its connections to the 3 great ducal houses. It's only natural that there has to be a replacement. But she knew that much already, didn't she? She casually adds it is not like there is anything hard about it. All she has to do is give birth to the royal heir. Viviana blurts but she cannot. She can't, her sister asks. Is it because she's friends with the potato girl, so she wants to retire too? Alexandra mutters under her breath, asking if Viviana has any idea what she's saying. Not content with throwing her out, now she dares to abandon her role and let the royal family be tainted with common blood. Her fist crashes down on the table. Viviana startles and blurts that's not what she meant. But Alexandra snaps in a raised voice that is exactly what she's saying. Viviana flinches. She then sighs, saying it is fine if she hates it so much she will go ask the ladies from the other houses to replace her. Viviana quickly says anything but that. Alexandra tells her to clean after her own mess. Alexandra reminds her at last. It has been a long time since their house last produced a queen consort. She knows full well how important that is. She thinks to herself, after all, the fact that she loved him wasn't the only thing that kept her attached to him. From a young age she bore the weight of the future reputation of their ducal house on her shoulders. She wasn't allowed to fail. That's why she worked so hard sticking it out for so long. Now she tells Viviana to listen carefully. There are the daughters of the ducal house, and Lord Alfonso is the crown prince. Her feelings are irrelevant here. Suddenly, Viviana blurts, why don't they get one of the dukes to adopt Lucia or something? Alexandra sighs, reminding her it is a question of pedigree, not just rank. Viviana's eyes well up, her voice trembling as she asks if Alexandra expects her to just disregard their feelings for each other. Alexandra counters, how is that related to anything? For all she cares, they can spend the rest of their lives stuck together. But consider the child born between them. Does she really think that ducal houses and the rest of the nobility will accept that child as the next monarch? His Highness is one of the 3 children. If either of the younger brothers has a child with one of the ducal houses, then the right of succession will go straight to them. Viviana's face pales, as if only now grasping the weight of it. With a smirk, Alexandra adds, how about this? Couldn't Lord Alfonso just give up his position as the crown prince and become a regular noble? If he did that, no one would bat an eye if he got married to the potato girl. Besides, they love each other. Social status shouldn't mean anything, right? Alexandra asks what's wrong. Viviana's fingers tighten around her dress, and Alexandra notices the reaction. Viviana has understood it too. That woman's utter avarice. The potato girl has the type of repellish personality that's driven her to aim for the reverse harem end. To be able to dedicate her whole life to Lord Alfonso, even after losing his shiny title of crown prince. She doesn't have the love for it in her. What she yearns for is the character called the crown prince, and that's all. She still remembers Viviana's cutting words, that Lady Alexandra only sees Lord Alfonso as the crown prince. In her mind, Alexandra snaps back that Viviana isn't one to talk. A knock on the door pulls her out of her thoughts. Her attendant enters, apologizing for the intrusion, but announces that the preparations for her departure are complete. Alexandra thanks her for her hard work, saying she's going at once. As the maid drapes a cloak over her shoulders, Alexandra asks if the letter requesting an audience was taken. The attendant assures her it was, and that His Majesty has been promised its delivery. Alexandra glances at Viviana, still frozen in her spot, and tells her coolly to take her time and think again, carefully, about her own position. 20 hours remain. Later, Duke Carolina's daughter admits she had not expected Alexandra's visit at such a late hour. But when Alexandra thanks her for receiving her regardless, she only replies that it is no trouble at all. After all, she heard it was an urgent matter. Carolina is the same age as her and one of her close friends. In the game, she was a neutral character who would on occasion help both the heroine and the villain. She didn't appear all that often in the actual game, but as a duke's daughter she had significant influence within the academy. If she can get her on her side, her chances of success at tomorrow's meeting will go up. Carolina asks her what brings her here, teasing if she has finally come to let her have the engagement instead. She smiles and says yes, at least it's one of the options she's considering. Carolina's smile instantly disappears, proving she was only joking. She blurts, is she being serious? Alexandra admits she had to think it over long, but she came today to let her know that she has resolved to retire. Carolina asks, so is she letting that vixen have the crown prince? She simply says not so, she has just run out of patience for him. Carolina says even so, to think that the situation had deteriorated to such an extent that even Lady Alexandria is withdrawing. Alexandria admits she believes at tomorrow's meeting he plans to pressure her to retire anyway, with her actions against Lucia as pretext. Carolina admits that is possible. Even the once wise crown prince has fallen prisoner to that vixen. He may not even be able to tell anymore how important the royal ducal engagement is. Alexandra then says as such, she has a request for Lady Carolina. Regarding tomorrow, when they plan to assert how evil she is, she would like to ask her to help defend her. Carolina asks she would have her to cover for her. She replies not quite. What she's worried about is she will be accused of things she has never done. The potato girl has already privately accused her in front of the crown prince for the actions of others. And to be honest, that vixen is irregular, getting all of the court gentlemen to fall for her like that one after another. In complete contrast to her adorable exterior, her perception and foresight borders on terrifying. And she gets into the good graces of all the gentlemen with such ease, it cannot be helped that all the young ladies dislike her. Carolina mumbles, just what is she? Alexandra asks her if she knows the origin of the word vixen. She replies no, she has never thought of it too deeply. Alexandra explains the term has its roots in a certain event that took place in a country in the Far East. In that country, which had reached the height of prosperity, a fox demon transformed into a beautiful woman, then proceeded to deceive the emperor and drown him in all manners of pleasure. Under an emperor whose heart had been stolen, that country began to decline. And finally it collapsed. Alexandra places a folded sheet on the table, saying she will leave it with her. Carolina asks what it might be, but Alexandra only urges her to take a look. As she reads, her eyes grow wide in shock. Alexandra leans forward and says, as befitting a vixen, that woman may indeed be destroying the country. Carolina, looking shaken suddenly says she wants to be her ally. The vixen cannot be allowed to act as she pleases any further. Alexandra thanks her very much and admits she's in her debt now. 19 hours left. Back at home, she plops onto her bed, satisfied that everything on today's list is done. First thing tomorrow she has to meet with His Majesty and ask for the engagement to be dissolved. Sitting up, she realizes she feels sadder than she expected, but it can't be helped. Up until yesterday, or rather half a day ago, she was someone who certainly loved His Highness. She wonders where she went wrong with him. The fact that she lost her temper, the fact that she was jealous of the potato girl, or was she just not attractive enough? It's probably none of these things. Because this is a game. It is just her role to be hated by the crown prince. There was never a future in which she could be with him. She knew it was coming, but unrequited love, The ache in her chest is the same as it was in her last life. Zenaida steps into the room and tells her that staying up too late will only wear her down tomorrow, so she should take her bath and rest. Alexandra sighs and admits she's right, agreeing to do just that. In the bathroom, Zenaida says she'll take her leave, but Alexandra suddenly turns and asks if she wouldn't join her. Zenaida startles, blurting that she's fine, but Alexandra insists just for today. Reluctantly, she stays. Later, as Zenaida washes her, Alexandra's voice comes out soft, almost hesitant. She asks if Zenaida thinks she's pretty. The question stuns her, but after a beat, she answers Alexandra is very beautiful. She replies of course. She's pretty, isn't she? To highlight the potato girl's simplicity, Alexandra was given beauty that anyone could be envious of. She can charm noblemen just by walking past them. While on the inside she has both refinement and education. She mumbles love just doesn't go smoothly, does it? Zenaida smiles and says it is as she says. She then asks Zenaida if she has someone she's going out with. She admits she is actually going to be engaged soon. Alexandra blurts so she is leaving her behind to become happy on her own. Zenaida only giggles in response. Suddenly, Alexandra extends her hand and tells her to pass the sponge. She's going to wash her this time. As Alexandra runs the sponge across her skin, Zenaida drifts into silence, until she finally murmurs that she seems like a different person today. Is that so? Alexandra asks. Yes, Zenaida replies, quite different from yesterday. As someone who serves her, is she allowed to know what happened? Alexandra pauses, then says she received an oracle. With that, she dips beneath the bathwater and settles back, feeling good. It's not exactly that she adds, but one way or another, she has come to know what's going to happen from here on. For example, tomorrow. For one, she is going to get dumped by His Highness. And then Harold, Viviana and even her parents. Everyone is going to turn on her. Of course, that includes her. Zenaida looks completely off guard. She admits that's why she bought her off. Zenaida admits it is a little hard to believe all of a sudden, but indeed, as someone employed by the local house, it would probably end up like that. Alexandra says as for her, in order to negate that future, she's struggling with all she can. She tells Zenaida she wouldn't just lay down and accept it either, would she? That everything she had done up until now had been meaningless. Zenaida falls quiet, then slips into the water beside her. For a moment, surprise flickers across Alexandra's face, but it softens just as quickly. Thank you for your hard work today, she says softly. But tomorrow will be busy, so she should prepare herself. Zenaida smiles and replies of course. Zenaida pauses before quietly asking if she may speak. She asks if Alexandra's love for His Highness was real. Alexandra concedes that she had and that she had been prepared to be at his side for life. Her attendant asks then is it all right to pull away from this so easily? But Alexandra shrugs and says she has already lost interest in him and she certainly doesn't want to be the one getting dumped. This pain in her chest is real, but in the first place it wasn't anything like some kind of unwavering true love. She wonders if such a love exists that stays intact no matter what. In which for the sake of her partner, she could even go astray of morality. Like something she would find in a storybook. A little boy had fallen, and she had helped him up. He beamed at her. Now she wonders why that memory from her childhood has suddenly come to mind. The thought cuts when Zenaida calls out to her asking if something is the matter. She replies no, she just got a little dizzy. So Zenaida suggests they return to her room and she will bring some water. As she serves her water, she asks her how is she feeling now. Alexandra replies she has regained her composure, so she's fine. In that case, she decides to return to her own room and tells her to call her if there's anything else. Before leaving, Alexandra glances at her and says thanks. When Zenaida makes a surprised face, Alexandra asks what's wrong. She admits it's just unusual for her to be thanked. Alexandra thinks to herself that must be a habit carried over from her previous life. She turns to Zenaida again when she out of nowhere, says she hopes she is blessed with a good match next time. Alexandra glares at her, asking if she's making fun of her. Zenaida replies not at all. Those are her true feelings. At the royal palace's back entrance, a cloaked man hurries away, but the third prince, Gerald, calls out from behind. The man snaps his head toward him. And Gerald demands where his older brother going. 18 hours left. He asks his brother what does he want. He's going to a preparation meeting for tomorrow's gathering. Gerald points out at this hour, who is he going with? The older brother asks if he was lying in wait for him to go out. But Gerald tells him to answer his question first. He's going to Lucia's, isn't he? Gerald says he's also heard that he's been cold to sister-in-law recently. The crown prince snaps that it has nothing to do with him. Gerald snaps back it does. She is going to become his actual sister-in-law. Even their mother is treating her like her own child. In desperation, the crown prince blurts that even the thought of it makes him sick, leaving Gerald momentarily shocked. Gerald questions whether he ever truly cared for her as fiancée, the crown princess, but the crown prince insists that isn't true, that some ridiculous tradition simply obliges him to take her as his bride, and someone who torments Lucia just because things don't go her way has no right to be his companion. Gerald wonders why he doesn't just tell their father, and the crown prince smirks, saying not to worry, he will, of course. But as royalty, they cannot just act based on their emotions, now can they? That is why he has decided to do this. The crown prince declares tomorrow he will make public all of that woman's sins, proving that she is not fit for the engagement. Gerald flinches, his shock evident, before blurting out that it might be true his sister-in-law has done some bad things, but that was only because his brother is already with Lucia. The crown prince screams at him to shut up, demanding what the hell he knows about love, then smirks, saying he finally understands, she has always treated him well. His eyes narrow, and he accuses her of seducing him as insurance for when he loses interest. Gerald freezes, shocked by the accusation, and the crown prince tells him to wake up, that he's simply being tricked, before turning and walking away, announcing he will return by morning. Gerald is left behind, grinding his teeth in absolute frustration. Suddenly, he slams his fist against the pillar beside him, shouting that the one being tricked is him. 1 year ago, he received a certain letter. It said ducal daughter Alexandra will have her engagement annulled by the crown prince and will subsequently be destroyed. At first he thought it was just a prank. He couldn't tell who sent it. At the time, the two of them were very intimate and he had no doubts about their future together. But from then on, he continued receiving frequent letters. The crown prince will become infatuated with baronial daughter Lucia. Out of jealousy, Alexandra will commit evil deeds towards Lucia. Prior to the gathering, the crown prince will meet with Lucia. All of them became true, and he came to believe the letters. Before Lucia appeared, sister-in-law was both wise and noble. And whenever he was in trouble, she would always reach out to help him. That's how kind she is. No matter what his brother might say, he likes Alexandra as a future sister-in-law and as a woman. He had given up because of older brother, but if the letters come out true, she will be destroyed tomorrow. As if he will let that happen. She has always helped him out. She has always been his ally. If the man who is supposed to protect her is going to become her enemy, then he will protect her instead. Meanwhile, inside the castle, the Empress's maid tells the Empress it is already late. Any longer and her health will be at risk. The maid, Elodia, then notices her looking worried and asks what was in the letter from Lady Alexandria. She doesn't answer that and instead asks how has Alfonso been lately. The maid replies she believes he has been growing spectacularly. The Empress clarifies that's not what she meant. What does she think, not as a maid, but as her original self as a daughter of a Viscount household? She replies with all due respect. She believes she has already heard the rumors. His Highness the Crown Prince has been seduced by a baronial daughter. This is what's currently making the rounds in high society. The Empress says that girl named Lucia, right? The maid replies not only that but Lady Lucia has also ensnared several other men of noble origin. And there are many witnesses to this. And it is to the point that her actions may threaten to cause disorder within the country. Or at least that's what some believe. The Empress staggers slightly and says here she thought, she raised that child properly. Of all things to get charmed by that kind of girl. The Empress states if that is how well known of a rumor it is, Alexandra would probably know about it as well. As this letter is her requesting to withdraw from the engagement. She turns to Elodia for her opinion. Elodia admits that Lady Alexandra should know full well what her position is, but for her to still request to withdraw from the engagement can only mean that the Crown Prince is truly prepared to break tradition. The Empress finishes what? And cancel the engagement himself? She replies yes. As she places the letter in the drawer, she tells her maid that she will respond to Alexandra immediately and instruct her to come to the palace tomorrow morning. She will have someone on standby to ensure it reaches her by dawn. To think it has really come to this. She glances down at the letter, which reads that his son, the Crown Prince Alfonso, is going to annul his engagement with Alexandra at the gathering. She looks up at the moon, her face tense. Tomorrow is going to be a hard day. Time until the condemnation event. 17 hours left. The moment she realized she was a villainess in an otome game. Was 24 hours before her condemnation event. To avoid the friendship, she has already broken a few of the flags. 17 hours remain and she is just getting started. At Isidro's office, the man grumbles just what is he calling him out for at this hour. He was having a nice drink. Isidro tells him not to be like that and informs him there is a job for him tonight. The man grumbles this is way too sudden. There should be proper reward for this, or he's leaving. With a smirk, Isidro says all of the others who got requests tonight said the same thing. They changed their tune when they saw this. He tosses a pouch of coins onto the table, unable to believe it's just the down payment and asks if this isn't some dangerous investigation. Isidro reminds him it is his specialty job and hands him a floor plan, showing the rooms he's supposed to keep notes on. He asks whose mansion is this. A certain baron's, Isidro replies, and he will be watching the room of that much talked about daughter. He starts by peering through the window but can't hear anything, then freezes at the voices inside and realizes they expect him to watch this until morning and get paid for it. Heart racing, he scribbles notes, trying to see who her partner is, and his eyes widen when he recognizes the Crown Prince. The rumors about the lady are true. He still has a fiancée, and if this is exposed, it won't stop at a falling out. He could even be stripped of his succession. As it sinks in that this will go on until morning, he can't help but think that, yes, it is nice to be young. Meanwhile, another of Isidro's minions finally slips into the ducal heir Roberto's room while he sleeps. He puts something onto a cloth and presses it over Roberto's mouth, ensuring he will stay that way for a while, then pours ice onto the bed and stares at him, wondering what the point of all this is. He recalls Isidro's words. He wants Roberto to catch a cold and mutters not only could he catch a cold, he might even freeze to death. Just whose bad side has he gotten on? Elsewhere, yet another minion meets a man at the royal capital, announcing that Isidro sent him. As the man leaves to carry out his task, he's instructed to steal the Domingo Company's secret accounts book. He remembers warning Isidro that Domingo is a rival and they will be suspected immediately, but Isidro assures him the client has already fixed that problem, producing a letter with instructions to leave the vault in place of the book. Isidro also tells him the vault is in the room of the son Mario. According to his information, it's not particularly guarded. After smuggling it out, he can leave the book here for a bit then hand it out to the client's retainer at the square. After he's done with the first task, all he has to do now is hand it off to the client's retainer at the square. As he waits for the retainer, a cloaked figure appears. Surprised, it's a woman, not the man he expected. He hands over the goods. Before disappearing, she instructs him to ask Isidro for the rest of the compensation. A sudden gust of wind pulls back her veil, revealing her face. She warns he saw nothing today. He gulps, frozen by how terrifying she is. 15 hours left. A hidden character decides to tell us about the Lucia she knows. She was the adopted daughter of a poor baron. She never lamented her frugal life and was positive from a young age. She was kind and always said that she was happy to be loved by her foster parents and those around her. Until one day she was overwhelmed by a mysterious high fever. She wandered between life and death. Her family prayed day and night for her recovery. Perhaps their prayers were answered. Lucia woke up safely. But her now being the reincarnator was no longer herself, the Lucia that appeared in front of her. She didn't understand what she was talking about at first. As it was explained to her over and over, Lucia was the heroine of a game called Dokiden. That is why the one in front of her now is a university student who loved Dokiden who looks like Lucia. The unknown woman says she cannot believe she actually made all 8 of them fall for her. Lucia smugly smiles, saying she has completely memorized all the captured routes. The woman asks why does she insist on the reverse harem ending. Lucia exclaims that is because of love. The woman repeats love. She replies yes, she wants love from all the characters that she loves. The woman admits she feels sorry for them with how she exploits their love for her, but Lucia tells her not to say it like that. She had to work hard for this ending too, and now they are going to say farewell to that villainess tomorrow. The woman wonders the Lucia who was happy to be with her friends and parents, where did she go? The person in front of her is merely portraying a heroine who cherishes little movements of happiness. However, she is a calculating and greedy lady. Lucia excuses herself, saying she must go, but just as she reaches the door, the woman calls out to her, saying she hopes her dream will come true. She loves her so much for living so selfishly, for trying so hard to become the heroine. Her earnestness is irresistibly cute, yet she wants to keep her all to herself, to stay by her side no matter what happens. After all, this is love, just as she said. 12 hours remain and Zenaida puts on her uniform back, thinking how long has it been since she has become a servant to this house. She was born to a Viscount family that was not too well off. Her parents told her, their 3rd daughter, that they cannot afford their dowry. She looked at her father and said she will earn it herself. That's how she started working at this mansion. The lady was still young and often acted selfishly. She worked hard to not get fired before she had earned her dowry. It was worth it as she became known as a reliable maid. Luckily, her lady matured as she grew older, worthy of being the fiancée of the crown prince. She would have made a wonderful queen. At least, that was what she thought until her temper returned and she often took it out on her. It was so bad at one point that she thought perhaps someday God would punish her. It was then the devil whispered in her ears, does she wish for ruin upon her? The man told her they were planning this with the crown prince and admitted it must be difficult for her, but would she like to join them? Zenaida did not hate the lady, but she had no loyalty to speak of either. She replied she will follow their orders, she must protect herself first, and this was meant to be farewell. So why is she still working for the lady? She thinks she knows what she's doing. Starting yesterday, her expectations of this wicked master changed significantly. She let go of all her luxuries. Her obsession with the crown prince disappeared, so she cannot help but wonder what she will do next. To see how she will turn the situation around. Alexandra asks Zenaida, have they obtained the ledger? She replies yes, here it is. Alexandra declares with this that petulant Mario is at her will. Just then, the maid bursts in, apologizing for the disturbance, and informs her that the visitor is Mario, heir to the Domingo company. Alexandra bursts into laughter, then rises and instructs the maid to bring him to the smallest drawing room. She turns to Zenaida, asking her to help her get changed, he must be very distraught right now. Zenaida smiles and replies that she will, as Alexandra wishes. To Zenaida, it seems her lady is still a villainess. However, she will serve her until the very end. She cannot help but look forward to it. And that concludes the video today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want another part. Alexandra has sent Mario a letter. At first, she has congratulated him on his new company's success, but she adds to that by mentioning how she has recently heard that there are many burglaries and thefts happening around the capital. She is sure that he must have already increased his security, but still she urges him to put forth his utmost vigilance. After getting ready, she says to Zenaida that they should get going now. Mario shouts at Alexandra that she has taken something from him. She sighs at him, wondering what he is even speaking about, because she has stolen nothing from him. Mario slams the letter that she has sent to him on the table. She replies that, of course, it is the letter she has sent to him out of worry, and she is glad that it has reached him safely. This alone makes him grow truly angry. He lashes at her to stop playing dumb with him. She insists again that she has done nothing of that sort. Mario questions her, asking in that case how it has appeared in his vault. She sighs and asks him if he means that something was stolen from his vault. She tells him that she is going to ask him again, and if something was indeed stolen from his vault, because she is sure that something must have been stolen. Mario, in reflex, blurts out the very thing he is trying to conceal too hastily, and he gets caught at his own words. Seeing this makes Alexandra satisfied, and she smiles as she asks what exactly was stolen. To acknowledge the existence of a hidden ledger is no different from admitting the crimes committed by the company. She begins to narrate details of human trafficking, hired mercenaries sent to kill, and of mining operations that continued in foolishness. They all know now that his Domingo company is involved in all these crimes, and that the ledger detailing all of this has been stolen. And if what is in the ledger is actually true, then let it be said that a great many people are going to be disillusioned. Mario's eyes dart to the ledger in her hand. He shouts at her to hand it over, declaring that she is not going to get away with this so easily. She scoffs at him, demanding to know what exactly he thinks is going to happen to her. Mario is in fact the capture target of the potato girl, so he probably wanted to ensure that Alexandra would be condemned today. But unfortunately for him, it is Alexandra who stands at the top, and that is why she will be the one to bring about his disappearance. She asks him what business he has with her at all, because if he is merely here to shout at her, then he can surely leave. Mario, forced, finally begs her to wait, questioning what it is that she actually wants. She replies that it is very simple, that all he needs to do is show some sincerity to her. He scoffs, declaring that there is no way he would do that to the likes of her. She can see that he is still not understanding, so she assures him that she is going to explain it clearly for him. He is the son of the great merchant Domingo, and she is the daughter of the Duke and the fiancée of the Crown Prince. In the end, he is still a commoner. Does he truly think it is his right to speak with the future queen in such a manner? This statement alone makes him begin to sweat. She asserts that at the academy they admit people from all classes, and permit all exchanges regardless of social status. That is why she turned a blind eye to how everyone spoke there. But right now, they are standing in the residence of the Duke, and if he still thinks that it is acceptable for him to speak this way here too, then he is gravely mistaken. Having no other option, Mario gets down to his knees and faintly utters his plea. She tells him to attend the banquet late, using the excuse that he is not feeling well today. He tries to reason with it, but she asks him if something is wrong, while at the same time she believes to herself that it is far better this way than to have his presence discovered and his secrets exposed. She asks him about his decision, because the fate of his company now relies upon his hands. Seeing his lack of response, she slams the desk, shouting that she is not going to tolerate entertaining him any longer. He, in return, states that he only wants an assurance that she will not abuse this position. She scoffs and assures him that, of course, if he accepts her will, she is not going to do anything that disadvantages him. He then declares that he understands and will not attend the banquet. She gets what she desires, and Mario is now all fealty. Now she is going to relish in the act of delivering the ledger back to him tomorrow morning, and she orders Zenaida to have someone see him off. She then takes her leave, wishing him a good day. As she departs, she almost forgets to remind him that he cannot tell others about this matter. If he dares to do anything suspicious, he should prepare himself for the ledger to be presented to Isidro, a thought that sends goosebumps all over Mario. He hurriedly assures her of his silence. Finally, Alexandra feels relieved that the entire matter has been wrapped up rather neatly. She is, however, extremely hungry and begins planning to get herself some food. Just as she thinks of this, her mother calls out to her, asking what she is up to now. She explains that she has had some business to attend. Her mother informs her that a letter from His Majesty has arrived, and that he wishes to have breakfast with her. Alexandra realizes immediately that if the king himself has sent such a message, then it must be that she has been summoned for an audience. But this time it is not only the king, all the royal members will be present. She had wanted to keep her meeting with the king secret, yet it is not as if she can avoid it now that the summons has arrived. So she prepares herself and sets out to meet him at the royal palace. The butler greets her with courtesy and guides her to where the king is waiting. She has been here many times during her childhood, yet she has never felt this level of nervousness before. She enters the room, apologizing politely for keeping them waiting, and greets the king, all set to bring matters to a proper settlement now. The king orders her to raise her head, and when she notices that Alfonso is not present, the king explains that Alfonso is at the academy, preparing for the upcoming gathering. Alexandra bows her head politely and then takes her seat. The king begins by expressing regret that such a conversation must happen over the meal, but he says that he needs to know whether her request to dissolve the relationship with Alfonso is truly real. She confirms it without hesitation, shocking all the other royal members present. Yet she makes it loud and clear that she wishes to end this engagement with Alfonso. She already knows that her honor will suffer great damage because of it, and that in the future it will become far more difficult for her to marry. Still, she declares firmly that Alfonso's heart does not belong to her, and so this arrangement causes pain to both of them. She insists that the fault lies in her own inadequacy, not Alfonso's, and says that he is not to be blamed. The king listens and nods in understanding, and then, to her shock, he apologizes. He says he is sorry that his unworthy son has hurt her feelings. She is shaken by the humility of the gesture, and quickly begs him to raise his head. Even Alfonso's adoptive mother thinks in that moment that he is truly pathetic. After a pause, the king grants Alexandra her wish and agrees to nullify the marriage. She bows her head and thanks him with sincerity. The queen, however, speaks up and turns the topic in another direction. She declares that Alfonso's love must be for a truly uneducated woman who does not belong to this royal family. Alexandra does not quite understand the queen's meaning, for in the past the queen herself had encouraged Alfonso's marriage to Lucia. Still, Alexandra senses that this is her chance. She speaks carefully, pointing out that it is not truly beneficial for the kingdom to lose a future queen from ducal lineage. But the king interjects, saying firmly that Alfonso will not marry anyone else either. Having lost her proposal, Alexandra still does not falter. She instead recommends her own sister, Vivian, to the royal family for this position. Vivian is also close to Lucia, so Alexandra is certain that Alfonso would not oppose such an agreement, and even if he still chooses to claim Lucia, the royal heir could still come from Vivian. The queen, however, scoffs at the suggestion. She declares that such a solution is not nearly enough, and announces that she would only accept it if Alfonso renounced his claim to the throne entirely. To Alexandra's surprise, the king agrees with the queen on this matter. This sudden and unexpected turn leaves Alexandra wondering what it means. If Alfonso is stripped of his claim, then does it mean that Prince Gregorio is going to become the crown prince? The king answers decisively, no. Gregorio is already engaged to the first princess of the neighboring country, and the poor boy does not even know what this engagement fully entails. That only leaves Gerald. The king turns to him and orders that he shall become the successor. He then asks Gerald if he understands the weight of this duty, and Gerald assures his father that he does. Alexandra cannot help but question what this means. If Gerald becomes the crown prince, then is her sister going to marry him? The king laughs lightly and corrects her. What she is saying is not the case at all. He has only accepted the dissolution of her engagement with Alfonso. If Gerald becomes crown prince, then Alexandra herself will become his fiancée. Both Gerald and Alexandra freeze in disbelief, staring at the king in shock. Neither of them had expected such a sudden turn, and the words strike them like a thunderbolt. The queen is surely living for this idea, while poor Alexandra remains unable to understand all these sudden developments. Upon asking Gerald's opinion about it, he is excited and says that he does not mind at all, which only makes Alexandra cry internally, wondering if something is wrong with him too. Zenaida congratulates her on this new engagement, but Alexandra is not happy at all. Gerald has always admired her, and perhaps that is why it somehow shifted into romance, yet poor Alexandra has truly never thought of him in that way. Zenaida tells her that in truth she is thinking of him too much as a child, because he is already at the age of maturity. It has surely been quite a lot of time since she last saw him, and now he has grown tall and even more manly, but his sudden declaration that he wants to marry her only makes her feel too much embarrassment. After that, she goes to meet Lady Letizia, the daughter of the ducal family, the very one who is the envy chess piece alive on Alexandra's board. The king's brother, Prince Felipe, is also a capture target for the potato girl, and not even Isidro can make assassins attack here, so here she is, preparing the next trap right in the palace. Letizia asks why she has come, because she is clearly busy trying to help her highness. Alexandra states that she is here to give her a present. She places the bottle upon the desk, making Letizia's eyes widen in shock. Letizia shouts at Alexandra, demanding to know where she got her hands on it. Alexandra smiles and explains that she happened to hear that Letizia wanted this, so she brought it for her, having the feeling that she must have desired it badly. Alexandra then turns to Zenaida and says that they should leave. Before stepping outside, she bids Letizia happiness. Outside, Zenaida questions her about what she has presented to Letizia. Alexandra replies that it was a magical potion. Letizia has admired Prince Felipe for a long time, ever since they were close and had the chance to meet many times. During those moments she truly fell for him, yet she could never confess her feelings, for he did not plan to marry for the sake of his older brother, the king. Because of that, she also chose to remain single, devoting herself to becoming his loyal retainer, all in the hope that one day he might come to see her as a woman. Even if these were faint dreams and fragile hopes, she continued to support him with all her heart. Those days were truly good and full of quiet happiness until the arrival of Lucia. Lucia was the daughter of a baron, a girl whom Felipe once helped when she got lost in the palace. She made no effort to hide her simple nature as a country girl, and soon she began visiting frequently. One day, Letizia saw him laughing freely with Lucia, a laughter so unguarded and bright that she realized she had never once seen him make such a face with her. From then on, he constantly spoke about Lucia, and even began to neglect his duties. Along the line, his dignified appearance disappeared. All of Letizia's feelings, her love, her respect, and most painfully her jealousy piled up until she could no longer contain them. She tried to swallow it down, but in the end, she shouted at him that ever since Lucia had come, he had become both beautiful and irresponsible, slacking off to the point that he should be forbidden from meeting her. Felipe glared at her with cold eyes, asking whether this was meant as an order or an advice. Seeing him like that, she realized he was no longer within her reach. She could not believe that the man she had loved so deeply had turned into something so unrecognizable. She tried her best to keep Lucia away from him, but the general and even the duke supported her, almost as though they knew what was coming. With no other choice, Letizia found herself in secret dealings with the Domingo Company, where she was summoned with a message telling her to come. Turning up, she saw the crown prince himself, asking her what she was doing there. Letizia also noticed Mario present. At that moment, Lucia shouted at Letizia, accusing her that it was wrong to play with Felipe's heart in such a way. By then, everyone had already fallen head over heels for Lucia. Letizia went directly to Felipe and asked him if it was true that he loved Lucia. He admitted it openly, saying that it was indeed the truth. She could not handle the weight of it anymore. She wanted to resign from her position, but at that time Alexandra suddenly came with another option. Back to Presnet, Letizia went to Felipe for a tea break. The moment he drank from the cup, he began to cough violently, making her extremely worried. She had not checked the bottle, for it looked the same as the one she tried to get from Domingo, but now fear struck her. What if that was poison? He yanked her to go away, but she still held on to him. He fell forward on top of her, begging her to run away because he did not want to hurt her. Yet she smiled with tears, assuring him that it was all right. After all, she had been waiting for this day. She declared her love for him openly and told him to do as he pleased. Only 8 hours remain. Lucia is seen all excited about the night she spent with Alfonso. Her friend comments that it seems like she enjoyed it well, adding that it looks like it is going to be the reverse harem ending without any problems. But upon seeing Lucia's full expression, she asks if there is actually any problem. Lucia mentions that Sir Roberto and Sir Mario are both sick today. She has not seen Sir Baltasar either. That means someone is no longer following the script. She asks if Alexandra could be the one doing this. Her friend wonders about it but questions how Alexandra could be any different. Lucia shouts, suggesting that it could be possible if Alexandra remembered her past life. Her friend replies that even so, what can she really do in a single day? Lucia gains courage from this thought, reasoning that it is truly impossible for Alexandra to accomplish anything in one day. Besides, it is difficult to enter the hidden path, so everything should be absolutely fine. Her friend, however, still wonders if she is correct, and Alexandra is indeed a reincarnator, then she has the finances and connections to make it possible. Currently, Lucia still thinks she can get away. Yet no one knows who will win in the end. If things continue as they are, what will happen to Lucia? Should that happen, everything will have gone exactly how she wanted. 7 hours remain. Zenaida comes to Alexandra and informs her that Isidro has arrived to meet her. He hands over the report from monitoring the Baron's mansion. Alexandra begins to read, and she cannot believe what is written inside. What she sees is almost absurd, and she questions it with her eyes. Isidro explains to her that the actual author of this report has a strange habit of writing her reports as if they were chapters from a novel, and in particular, an erotic one. Although the content itself holds nothing inaccurate, the tone and form make it feel as if the entire document is a piece of fiction. The details within, however, are dangerous, for if the part about the crown prince abandoning his fiancée and leaving her in the hands of another man were ever to become public, it would send shockwaves through the court. Alexandra realizes the potential scandal immediately. She then asks Isidro about the other matters. He tells her that Sir Baltasar has suffered an upset stomach, of course because of the laxative that had been given to him, ensuring he will not be able to attend the banquet. Even the Duke's son has been taken care of, struck down with a high fever that the group made sure would keep him away. To Isidro, it almost seems as if everyone involved is truly enjoying the plan they put together, especially since their success is piling up one by one. He then adds that while he was on his way here, he received troubling news. Felipe, of all people, is said to be attempting to assault the lady in charge of him. Alexandra reacts with genuine shock, playing the part of someone who had never expected such behavior, even though she herself has been the one to lay the path for these outcomes. To Isidro, it feels unusual and rare for someone like Felipe to act in such a reckless manner. With that, he gives her the sheet of her last requests, saying that if she goes to this mansion, she will encounter the man who carried out all this with the help of his own hand. Alexandra accepts the matter without hesitation and orders Zenaida that they will be leaving for the plaza in 1 hour. Now only 6 hours remain until the grand gathering, and there are still 3 remaining targets to capture. The Crown Prince is supposed to be the last, which means Alexandra must manage the other 2 before that point. She resolves to deal with one herself and entrust the other to Caroline. Meanwhile, Caroline knocks at a door and asks Theodore, the teacher, if she may enter. He inquires if something has happened. She responds that she has caught word of some nasty whispers claiming that he is involved in an indecent relationship. Theodore insists that he has lived a perfectly ordinary life and should not be troubled by such gossip. Caroline reminds him sharply that it is illegal for a teacher to enter into a relationship with a student, and whether false or true, such a rumor can destroy everything. Caroline makes it clear to Theodore that she intends to expose his actions, reminding him that since the beginning of the year he started to show unusual attention toward a certain student, treating her as his love interest. Theodore denies recalling ever doing anything of the sort. Caroline presses further, pointing out that at first his outings with the student to the botanical park could be brushed off as study-related, yet afterward he began to take her to eat food as well. Still, Theodore denies it. Caroline pushes harder, declaring that just last week she herself met him, and if he truly does not remember hugging Lucia there, then he is deliberately trying to erase his memory of it. Theodore reacts with surprise, astonished that she has managed to investigate matters to such depth. Caroline herself is shocked that he is practically admitting to what happened, and she wonders aloud what he plans to do now. Theodore only smiles, dismissing the matter. In his view, these are nothing but rumors, and his dedication to his duties is so strong that even if the headmaster were to hear, he would not believe them. Caroline, however, presses with a sharper question. She demands to know why Theodore is interested in someone like Lucia in the first place. As the Baron's daughter, Lucia should be more cautious about her status, and instead of drawing the attention of a teacher, she should concern herself with pursuing more respectable gentlemen. To Caroline, Lucia is nothing more than a selfish child. Theodore reacts with fury. He slams his hand against the wall and orders Caroline not to utter another word of slander against Lucia. To him, she is not a child at all, but someone like a mother, a figure of comfort and meaning. Caroline notices the intensity of his emotions, and she reflects that Alexandra was right when she said these boys are truly wrapped around Lucia's fingers. Yet Caroline insists she is not doing this because Alexandra asked it of her, but because it is her duty as the daughter of the ducal house. She steps closer to him and warns him that, as she mentioned before, other people know about this situation as well. If those people happen to include Alexandra, then rumors will be spread without any difficulty. The consequences, Caroline emphasizes, will fall not on Theodore, but on Lucia, who will bear the brunt of all the criticism. She demands to know if Theodore is really going to pretend nothing has happened when the day comes that Lucia is ruined in the public eye. Theodore, cornered, replies that if matters truly reach that point, then he will simply quit being a teacher altogether. Caroline laughs bitterly at his naivety, telling him that this is not something that will end quietly. If his relationship with Lucia comes to light, it will be dragged into the open and judged in public. She reminds him that Lucia is just a first-year student, especially since most of the boys who now surround her will be graduating this year. Without their protection, she will be exposed. Caroline then adds another warning. Alexandra intends to expose every gentleman who tries to shield Lucia during the gathering. Even the Crown Prince, who was supposed to remain by her side, has already abandoned her. When that happens, Lucia will be left with no one to support her. Caroline makes it clear that if Theodore truly wants to protect her, then the best thing he can do is to stay away from today's gathering. By avoiding it, he will keep himself from being swept into Alexandra's plans. Theodore thanks Caroline for telling him this, though his gratitude is heavy with conflict. As she walks out, Caroline shakes her head, unable to believe how foolish he is. He still fails to realize that she herself is working to pull Lucia out of the academy entirely. She has done her part, and now it is Alexandra's turn to play her piece and pull her closer to their side. At that moment, Alexandra sneezes. Zenaida looks at her and asks if she is ready. Alexandra answers that it is time to move, time to position her final chess piece before the battle begins. Only 6 hours remain, and every move counts. Most of Potato Girl's targets are already out of the game. The final character stands ahead, and she is about to encounter him for the first time. Only 5 hours remain until the gathering, and this is going to be her last move. She sits strong upon the bench, wondering if he is still even here yet. It might truly be impossible to meet him after all. After all, she is waiting for a person with the highest capture difficulty, an infamous assassin in the city. He has been surviving with the bounty earned from assassinations. He is feared even within the underworld because of his ability to kill without the slightest hint of emotion. One day, while he was usually on his mission, Lucia approached him. He should have killed her right away, but he hesitated for some reason. He moved to kill her, but instead, they bonded because of her sweetness. That was when he realized that he had fallen in love with her. Having regained his humanity, he vowed to live hidden within the underworld. Yet his last job becomes a great problem, at least for her, because he is supposed to poison her at the gathering. Alia's backstory is terrifying. If she makes peace with Potato Girl, she will not get killed, but she blocks the reverse harem, which means in short that she is doomed to be killed at any rate. She needs to do her best to avoid it, but there is nothing she can do otherwise. The assassin does not show up, but instead comes from behind her, asking if she is the client. She cannot believe it. When did he even arrive here? He orders her not to move and to just tell him what she wants. She knows for certain that she will be killed if she lets her guard down. She declares that she is Alexandra, the daughter of the ducal house. Until now she has been taught and prepared to ascend as queen, but the appearance of a retainer has ruined everything. The assassin knows she is speaking about Lucia. She presses her request and demands that he get rid of Lucia at today's gathering. She does not care how it is done but insists that she needs to get rid of her. The assassin, holding the weapon behind him, replies that he cannot do that. Alexandra insists that she will pay him a great deal, but he simply takes out his dagger, hissing at her to stop. She chuckles, declaring that she knew it from the very start, and that it seems he too is in love with her. She turns toward him just as he is about to stab her with the dagger, but she risks herself instead, provoking him. He shouts at her not to dare run away, and Alexandra cries out, summoning all the knights. They rush to seize him while she leaps toward Zenaida. Zenaida is furious at Alexandra for using herself as bait, but she is also relieved that they managed to capture him. Alexandra walks over to Elia and speaks with scorn, claiming it is a shame. The moment she contacted him, it was certain that she would be marked to kill Lucia, so he came here only to eliminate her and, in turn, fell into the trap. It remains uncertain, but to think that even children like him would choose to protect the Potato Girl, yet that is not her fault. She turns to Zenaida and asks what the punishment should be for threatening members of the ducal family. Zenaida answers that banishment from the capital would be unavoidable. Alexandra orders the knights to bring him to the cell of the mansion. Elia cries out that everything she did was for the sake of Lucia. Alexandra turns, thinking that she is going to see him through to the very end, because it is her duty as a survivor. Only 4 hours remain until the gathering. Back at the mansion, a maid rushes to Alexandra, reporting that a guest is waiting for her. She turns, saying she does not feel like meeting anyone, but the maid adds that the person who has come to see her is Gerald. She cannot believe it, because she has just met him only a few hours ago. Perhaps he has come now to get her in to answer about the engagement. At that time she did not give him an answer, for she intended to give her formal reply only after the gathering. She is happy that they want to accept her, but she has no intention of accepting it. She goes and meets him. Gerald is sorry for this sudden meeting, but she asks him to sit down so they may talk. Once seated, she immediately presses the matter and asks what it is that he has come here for. He gets straight to the point. He wishes for her not to attend the gathering today. She finds this request rather unusual. Gerald has already heard that they are planning to condemn Alexandra at the gathering, and even he, Gerald, says it is obvious that they are not playing fair at this stage. Alexandra makes it clear that even if his brother does anything against her, she will still attend. Gerald grows worried that she will end up condemned in front of everyone, but she says that she does not care at all, because she is not his fiancée anymore. Gerald becomes flustered because he does not want anyone to speak ill of her. Alexandra is genuinely glad for his concern, but absence from the gathering is not an option. He knows she is intelligent, but he wants her to share if there is something more. Alexandra, however, is worried, and she says there must be a misunderstanding. If he really thinks she will keep quiet and let herself be condemned in the first place, he is mistaken. What Alfonso did to her is intolerable, and in return, she is going to destroy him. This shocks Gerald. He has always seen her as the kind sister, yet seeing her like this may have ruined that image, but this is the path she follows now, and she does not want him to be involved in it. She has one more thing to say: she never loved Alfonso. Gerald asks if she is trying to say that everything was a lie. Alexandra sighs and admits that it was all an act to appear happy, because after all, they were supposed to live together. Gerald questions if she intends to do the same with him as well, but she insists that she is not going to fix an engagement with him either. She is truly honored, but as she said before, she is trying to trap Alfonso, and it is all a conspiracy against the royal family. She will gain a bad reputation, and it will also ruin the royal family's name. So she suggests that Gerald marry her sister Vivian instead. He rejects the idea, shouting that he does not want to be with anyone but her. Alexandra is taken aback because he does not seem to understand what kind of person she is and what she has been doing for so long. Yet Gerald knows all of that, and still he wants her. He goes down on his knee, confessing that he has loved her for a long time, and if she wishes, he can even renounce his title for her. She does not need to be the crown princess or duchess, only to stay with him. Alexandra flushes and asks if he is joking, but he smiles and assures her he is not. He notes that she has returned to her usual self, though he does not like her distant demeanor. Of course, she is not his brother's fiancée anymore, but she is still not going to marry him, because he needs to understand how deeply he cares, and that he cannot simply give up his title. She pokes him, telling him to come back and say this to her again. For now, he is just like a brother-in-law to her, and she will wait for him to return and make her fall in love with him. She feels bad for doing this, but she believes it is good for his own well-being. Gerald, stubborn as ever, declares that he is going to come back, and he is determined. She knows she must wait for him. The girl short-circuits within, confused, while Gerald leaves all too happy. Zenaida makes fun of Alexandra, saying she has dug her own grave. Lucia is lashing out, wondering why Alexandra has to remember her past life at a time like this. She insists that Alexandra should just let it go. A little detail emerges about Lucia and her mysterious friend. This friend has been with Lucia for as long as she can remember from her childhood. The girl grew up poor and did not have much, yet Lucia held no prejudice against her. She spoke with her naturally and freely, never caring about status or decorum. Because of this, the mysterious girl slowly opened up to Lucia, for she too had been longing for a friend. Perhaps she was a reincarnated soul, for that might explain why she used to think quite freely about everything. Whatever she did always felt refreshing. With her knowledge, she would solve problems that were difficult even for adults and would come up with bold new ideas. She often found Lucia's actions amazing, but she told the girl that it was nothing too great. She explained that she simply had some precious people in her former life. The mysterious girl truly liked that about her, for Lucia never flaunted anything. Slowly, she became her world. One day, Lucia told her that she was planning to go to the academy soon and that she could not wait to fall in love with one of the men there. The mysterious girl even asked who Lucia thought she would end up with. Lucia, half playful, declared that since she was already here, she would aim for a reverse harem ending. Yet the mysterious girl doubted such a thing was possible, though her remark seemed to come out of the blue, as though she did not mean it. Not long after entering the academy, however, all the things Lucia used to say began happening to Lucia. This girl became her confidant. It puzzled her how could she act so perfectly in this game when she was not the real character. She even began to count how many times Lucia came to consult her about what to do, as if she were acting out a role in the game, the very role she herself had been meant to play. One day she asked Lucia about her character in the game. Lucia, nervous, admitted that there was never any true friend of hers in the game's story, but she believed that this mysterious girl must have been one of the background mob characters, an extra. To be honest, This is what the girl herself had expected. But in that moment, it struck her deeply. How could it be possible that she, someone who has been so close to Lucia, someone who loves her deeply, is nothing more than an irregular existence? But that does not change anything, because on the surface she is still Lucia's reliable friend. Yet deep inside, she feels the need to apologize to Lucia for one thing, that she has betrayed her, for she has fallen in love with her. She wants her to be hers and no one else's. So she pretends to advise Lucia while quietly trying to see the full picture of the so-called reverse harem. It is there that she finds a hole in the story. If she is able to seize that hole, she might achieve what she desires. Little by little, she begins to plant a seed. The chances of it bearing fruit seem 50-50, but now it feels as though fortune itself has turned in her favor. To think that Alexandra is also a reincarnated one, it becomes a great opportunity for her. Lucia, meanwhile, wonders what they should do now. The mysterious girl asks her if she still intends to condemn Alexandra today. Lucia shakily says that she is going to make sure Alexandra takes responsibility for trying to ruin the reverse harem ending. Besides that, the crown prince is enlightened enough to condemn her as well, so he is going to destroy her today. The mysterious girl assures her that this is right. She will have her full support. But if only Lucia knew the truth, that this girl is the one who is going to gain love today. Once everything is over, she intends to reveal it all to Lucia. Until then, she waits here. At the gathering, the crown prince suddenly asks what they are really talking about. Paula replies that she was about to say that Sir Balthasar is sick. He shouts that this is not what he meant. Why is he sick on this particular day? He knows they all have sworn to condemn Alexandra for the sake of Lucia. What the hell has happened? He wonders if this is Alexandra's doing. But Paula asks him how one could possibly induce another to fall sick. She also questions whether he has truly chosen Lucia as his partner. He shouts in reply, of course he has, because who else could possibly be suitable for him? She calmly points out that it is a problem that he is choosing another woman over his fiancée. He tries to say something, but he stops, realizing this is not the right place to argue. From behind, Lucia calls out to him. He quickly asks if she is feeling well. She says yes and mentions that she plans to go back and get changed. The crown prince turns to Paula and reminds her that though she is the host today, she must not dare to interrupt his plans. Paula already has a hunch that today they will be moving against Alexandra. She only wants to make sure everything goes smoothly without any problems, but it does not seem like that is going to happen. She has no clue what exactly will unfold, and with only half an hour left, the tension grows sharper. Zenaida goes to help Alexandra get ready, but when she enters the room, she sees that Alexandra is already prepared, needing only help with the back button. She cannot believe that Alexandra is really going to wear that dress. Alexandra reasons that this dress looks really good on her. Zenaida begs her to leave this matter to her, at least for once, but poor Alexandra does not want to. Zenaida changes her into another dress instead, saying that she is already pretty, so she does not need to dress too fancy. She decides to take a look herself, and Alexandra is shocked because she never thought that she could look this beautiful and graceful. The blue really suits her. Alexandra sighs, admitting that she truly felt comfortable wearing that red dress. Zenaida asks why it is that she is always choosing red clothes. Alexandra scoffs and says that, of course, it makes her stand out and she is the main character after all. Zenaida, however, can see that it is Alexandra's arrogance that made Alfonso hate her. Alexandra insists that anyway, she will go like this regardless. As she steps down, she sees Vivian there, who is calling her faintly and making her ask if there is something on her face. Vivian turns her face and scoffs that there is nothing. Alexandra scoffs back that today is the last day with all her seniors, so she is sure that she is going to miss them all too. Vivian replies that it is indeed a pity that the seniors, who are more splendid than even her own sister, are graduating soon. Alexandra asks Vivian if she is certain about her thoughts now. Vivian still does not think Alexandra is right, because she knows how much she has hurt Lucia and how much Lucia sheds tears because of her. That is why she cannot forgive Alexandra for what she did. She truly wants her to apologize to Lucia. She adds that what Lucia did and what Alexandra did, she evaluated the two things individually yesterday. She came to the conclusion that it can be true that Lucia is an anomaly, because everyone likes her and she does not pick anyone. She simply receives their protection. It is as though they are all worshipping her. Vivian reflects that it is all fine if it happens only in the academy, but one day it will all come tumbling down outside those walls. She admits that she does not want to cross that difficult and dangerous bridge with Alexandra. Alexandra is glad that they had that argument because at least Vivian opened up after all. She is, after all, her sister. Alexandra remarks that they should get going, or they will be late. All her family members are truly shocked to see just how pretty Alexandra looks today. All the credit today goes to Zenith. Alexandra then turns to her brother, questioning that if he got changed because she has asked him to be her partner. Before her brother can even explain anything to her, someone from behind says that they are here to pick her up. She wonders who it could be, and then she sees him. She is utterly shocked. What is he doing here? Gerald tells her that he will explain it all later, and all she needs to do now is give him her hand. She begins to wonder if this is what he meant back then when he said he would come back to her. Gerald looks at her, watching her blush, and she is flustered with him suddenly calling to pick her up. Still, it feels strange that he is acting this way, as if his entire aura has suddenly changed. He recalls that she once said she wanted him to act more manly, so he asks if he is now charming her enough. She admits that he does look different, while he presses her further, asking if changing just a bit and being too princely makes him better for her. The girl agrees that he does look different, but when he asks her to be more specific, she shouts at him to stop already, because she can feel herself being trapped by his charm. She huffs, more confused than anything, wondering why he even came to pick her up when he needed an invitation to be here. He simply smiles, unconcerned, and tells her not to worry because she already got his invitation. Besides that, he already knew that his brother was not going to pick her, since Zenith and her brother told him. She can see that Gerald has become quite mature. Gerald flexes confidently, saying that of course how could he be worthy of her if he could not even manage this much. She never knew that he loved her this deeply. He tells her that back when she was engaged to his brother and the two ducal families came to the palace to socialize, he was actually close to one of the girls there. He was too frail to play with the kids of his age, but she was the only one who truly cared for him. They would run around together in the trees. She was bright and lovely, and whenever he felt down, she used to complain at him and then offer her hand. That was the kind of girl she truly was. She asks if he used to cry a lot, and she finally realizes she remembers it now. She understands it was him. Gerald goes on to say that it was the first time someone treated him like a boy and not as royalty, so it made him incredibly happy. He knew then that he was in love with her, but when she was introduced to him as his brother's fiancée, he was completely flustered and deeply jealous of his brother. Yet when he saw the two of them supporting each other, he could not do anything. He thought he would give up, but he could not. He goes on to kiss her hand, admitting that he may still be a little young and immature for her, but his feelings are genuine. From now on, he is going to stay by her side to prove that he is the man she wants. He leans close to her, smelling her hair, and almost kisses her, but she pushes him away, reminding him that he needs to think a little more about timing. He asks if the timing is not right, and she snaps that she is about to go fight for her life. Gerald agrees, admitting that he got swayed and acted childishly. She tells him that still, he was like a prince just now. This takes him by surprise, and he blushes, asking what she said. She only repeats that she is not going to say it again. At last, they finally reach the academy. Alexandra looks out the window to see it. Gerald watches her closely and asks if she is alright. She does not even know who he is speaking to, when suddenly she remembers her destiny. She once thought it was already over, but she has come this far. She lifts her hand, allowing Gerald to escort her. He takes her hand firmly as they move together towards the academy. Everyone already knows that she is not going to come with Alfonso, but it is still going to be shocking for them to see her appear with Gerald. Caroline is the first to meet her, and she greets Gerald as well. It has been quite a while since she last saw him, and she even compliments him for looking quite different and good. Alexandra, while speaking to Caroline, asks about the task that was assigned to her. In response, Caroline winks, assuring her that all is set, since she is also one of those who worry about the county. Still, she wishes Alexandra good luck. Everyone's attention then diverts to Alfonso and Lucia coming together. The crowd begins to murmur at the sight of him standing proudly with Lucia, and at the same time Alexandra is arriving with Gerald. Lucia's eyes meet with Alexandra's when Gerald stands tall in front of them. Alfonso, confused, asks what Gerald is doing here. Alexandra assures Gerald that everything is fine. Alfonso has arrived with the potato girl, just like in the game, and now the queen and king are also about to come. After that, the speech from the rector is delivered, followed by the graduation address from the representative. Yet during this speech, he suddenly cuts into something else. He announces to everyone that he would like to address another matter. He calls Lucia to him as he declares that he is going to reveal all her sins, because he has run out of patience. In the name of the Crown Prince, he announces that he is going to renounce their engagement. The potato lady begs Alexandra to accept her crimes, and Prince Alfonso declares that he is going to forgive her. Gerald grows angry at this, but Alexandra asks him to remain silent. The lady, full of destruction, declares that she is going to crush them, and questions what wrongdoings he is talking about. He shouts at her not to play dumb, because he has a list of everything she has done to Lucia. She replies that she has no memory of doing anything like that and would like to read this so-called list. He begins by stating that at first, when Lucia arrived, she gave her so much insult. Alexandra replies that she was only giving her some older sister advice, since her behavior was quite problematic. Even if the Academy has a rule for equality regardless of status, a modicum of courtesy is still required. He shouts that this is not at all how it happened, claiming that she isolated Lucia. She replies that she held a freshman party, and the girl she invited happened to be a friend of Lucia, so she does not see any problem with that. She is sure others must have done the same. He shouts that she was the one who made them do so. She sighs and declares that she did not do anything of the sort. Lucia, in truth, was not invited to tea parties because that meant they did not approve of her behavior. He questions her further, asking if there was no sign of her involvement in these acts. She admits that she did chat with her friends about her behavior, but she did not ask anyone to do anything against her. If there was any damage that she caused, she has already replaced the dress with a new one, because it is her duty as someone born into a ducal family. Perhaps the issue is in Lucia's hands now. Lucia buries her head into Alfonso's arm, and he can see that Alexandra is not going to accept that she is guilty. She mentions that it is not true, yet she is going to formally apologize to Lucia. This shocks everyone, most of all, Lucia herself. She grows pale, because in the game, the villainess never apologizes. Now she has no choice but to follow the scenario and see if she is able to endure unscripted behavior. Alfonso mentions that still, her greatest crime is that she hired thugs to attack Lucia. This is the only wrongdoing that she has done, and she is not going to run away from it, because it is a crime to attack young nobles. She declares that she did it out of jealousy, admitting that she wanted Lucia gone from her life. He cannot believe that she did such a thing for such selfish feelings. She glares at him, demanding if he just called her selfish. She asks what he thinks caused all of this, insisting that if only he had not neglected her, she would not have grown jealous. It is all because he favored Lucia, so if he had not done that, none of this would have happened. She reminds him that it is not as though she did not warn Lucia to stay away from engaged men. Alfonso agrees that Lucia has some flaws, but they are here to talk about Alexandra's crimes. She sighs that she has already confessed to doing it out of jealousy, but how fortunate it is that it was merely an attempt. This makes him roar her name in fury. She does not understand what he even wants from her, because as the Crown Prince, he knows well that he could have a child with his fiancée, yet he expects her to befriend Lucia and tolerate his affair with another woman. She cannot be this merciful, and it is her fault for not confronting him when he wanted to end the engagement the moment he fell in love with Lucia. She still thinks that if he could not do it, then it was his fault for forcing Lucia to be exposed to threats. He is truly possessed with rage toward her and believes that people like her do not belong here. He wants her gone. Alexandra turns to Paula and asks if she cannot stay. Paula replies that she can, because as the graduate, she is the guest of honor. It is true that Alexandra's behavior was bad, but she has already said sorry, and any unofficial punishment would become a private matter. Alfonso, however, as the Crown Prince, orders her to leave this place. He is furious at her for using her power to destroy his sweet potato girl, and yet now, he himself is doing the same. But his order no longer holds any weight in the current moment. She forgets to tell him one thing, that she already received permission from the king to renounce their engagement. Lucia is in shock when Alfonso grows happy, because now he believes that he can marry her. His father must have seen just how great of a person she is. Alexandra, however, is sorry to ruin his happiness, but she declares that she is still going to be the queen. This takes everyone into utter confusion, because how is this even possible? Alfonso looks at Gerald, then turns to his father and shouts that there must be some kind of mistake. But his parents are adamant. The queen states that someone who only operates by emotions cannot become queen, and Alexandra is far more intelligent than him. If the crown prince is left to rule by heart alone, the country will collapse. Alfonso demands to know what is wrong with wanting to marry the woman he loves as the queen. The king assures him that he is not going to make his marriage to this girl, Lucia, official. Instead, he declares that Alfonso will lead the crusade next spring and reclaim the lands the barbarians have occupied. To the east lies a land taken long ago by barbarians, and it is the nation's desire and goal to bring it back under their control. It is described as a great honor to lead the crusade, but it is also a death sentence. In the game, failing the crown prince's route leads him to this very crusade, and he dies. He turns to Lucia, swearing that he is going to win and come back to marry her. She cries out that he cannot, because it is truly dangerous. He assures her that she does not need to worry, as his army has won multiple times, and the barbarians will not hold a candle to him. He even suggests that she should come with him, because her presence would give him encouragement. But she pushes him away, insisting that she does not want to go, and that if he wishes to march so badly, he can go alone. This shocks everyone. She begins to stammer apologies, saying it slipped out of her mouth and that she will remain working and praying for him in the capital. The queen cuts her off, declaring that she will not be doing so in the capital. She has already spoken to Lucia's parents, and they have decided it is too dangerous, especially with her seducing so many gentlemen. If her love were strong enough to accompany him on the crusade, they might have reconsidered, but now she will be sent to a monastery. The knights arrive. The queen expresses regret, but this was truly her last chance. She orders the knights to take Lucia away. Lucia begs them, insisting that they have it all wrong, because she is the queen and the heroine, she should not be the one treated as the villainess. Alexandra starts to laugh, asking Alfonso if this is really what he calls true love. She thought the two of them were going to face any fate together, but here he stands abandoning her. She declares that if it were her, she would have helped him through anything. She says she is thankful to him and bids him goodbye. Alfonso rises, enraged, and moves to strike her, but Gerald takes the blow in her place. Alfonso shouts that she is a witch. Gerald rises and lands a punch squarely against him, shouting back that she is not a witch but his wife. Alfonso threatens that he will destroy all of them when he returns. Gerald runs to her, apologizing that he could not protect her. She tells him that it is fine, that she deserves this. She is the villainess. She does not have a good personality, yet she still cries, because to be hated by someone you love still hurts deeply. Several months later, Lucia is seen praying. She wants to go back home. She hates it here. She cries, wondering why this is happening to her. The mystery girl appears and claims that it was her fault for not stopping her at that time. Whoever's fault it was, they now have a chance to escape this place, because Alfonso has been defeated in the east and cannot return here anymore. Lucia still thinks that he will come to take her out of this place, but the mystery girl reminds her that in truth, he has already died. Lucia cries, realizing that there is actually a difference between the home and the reality. The mystery girl asks her to wake up, because she is truly happy to be here with her alone. Lucia shouts at her to stop, declaring that she is just her childhood friend, and it is truly disgusting of her to say such things. The mystery girl shows her face and points out that perhaps Lucia is right. When Lucia sees the same face as her own, she asks who she is. Lucia duplicate asks what she is talking about, since they already introduced themselves the first time they met. She asks if she has forgotten, because back then, she had already told Lucia that she is also Lucia. The real Lucia thinks that this other Lucia is lying. The copy Lucia explains that the reincarnated Lucia was too dislodged in her own self, never thinking of anything beyond herself, and not even caring to know what she truly looked like. The copy Lucia tells her that this is their shared mind, and she can only come here when Lucia is asleep. Someone calls out to Lucia for breakfast. Lucia tells the reincarnated version of herself that too bad, she will have to wait here. The reincarnated Lucia runs to her, begging her to listen, but the real Lucia is already closing the door. The reincarnated Lucia pleads with her to open it, but Lucia insists that she has always wanted to be her, and now she will not hand it over to anyone. It belongs to her forever. She says her words of love and devotion before her reincarnation. Before her reincarnation, Lucia was a child who cared only about what was in front of her. If even one person in her life needed her, then from that very first day she met her, that person became the only one she loved. Her sister asks if she has done her morning prayer. Lucia replies that she has, and she truly received her revelation, to which she is deeply grateful. She is thankful to Alexandra for making her this happy. 3 years later, Alexandra is making a fuss, declaring that it is really painful. Zenaida sighs, admitting that she cannot help her with this. Alexandra mocks that the palace servants work themselves to their bones regardless of all this. Today is her wedding day. 3 years have passed since that day, and much has happened. Prince Alfonso was captured after a crushing defeat during the crusade and was released only after he gave up national secrets. His honor is in tatters, and he is now under house arrest for leaking state secrets. His comrades, Sir Roberto and Sir Balthasar, are still recovering from serious injuries. Rumor has it that the former butler, Harold, is wandering the streets. Mario's family has fallen on hard times after a certain someone exposed his family's dirty dealings. His Highness, Prince Felipe, took responsibility and married Lady Letizia. Theodore lost his beloved potato girl and became as quiet as a doll. Elia was executed, not only for attempting to kill Lucia, but also for many other crimes. On the other hand, Isidro published a rather erotic novel based on the report that Lucia never used. It is selling like hotcakes, and he is making a fortune from it. As for Zenaida, Alexandra feels odd, because she never thought she would one day be marrying her brother. She is still not used to calling Zenaida her sister-in-law, but Zenaida continues to call her a lady, because after all, she is going to become the queen. It is already time. Gerald arrives, and as soon as his eyes land on Alexandra, he shouts that he knew she was going to look this pretty. She cannot believe how shameless he is. Gerald insists that of course, no matter how much time passes, he will always be the one who falls for her. In fact, after Prince Alfonso's defeat, another crusade was launched. The result was a series of victories, and Gerald himself led the crusade. They are about to kiss when their son bursts into the room. Alberto runs straight to Alexandra and hugs her tightly. The queen comes running after him, saying that she tried to keep an eye on him but he ran away. Alexandra picks him up, telling him gently that his mom and dad have some things to do, so they will be back soon. Both Alexandra and Gerald are waiting to walk down the aisle together when Gerald suddenly calls to her and kisses her. He declares firmly that no matter what happens in the future, he is going to face it all together with her. Then he wonders if she is willing to fight the same battles alongside him. Alexandra smiles back at him, answering with certainty that of course she will. After all, he is her husband. And so, the never-before-seen crown princess route begins here.